Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So this morning, got to talk about what Michael Saylor plans on doing. And it's not really a surprise. He plans on buying more Bitcoin. So let's talk about how much. But overall, Bitcoin whales are scooping up Bitcoin by the billions behind the scenes. So let's talk about that as well. And some more economic news. Of course, we all love economic news and data and fake data and all that stuff. So, all right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. We're starting out the day right around 68,000, which isn't too shabby. But I do think there's a good chance we do climb back up in a big way today because, generally speaking, after a FOMC meeting, that's what happens. So we'll see. The market bell has just rung, and we do have a couple economic data to go over. Let's see. The market is opening up. NASDAQ is still opening up pretty positive. Dow down. But we did get a couple things. We got PPI inflation reading for wholesalers. Unexpectedly fell 0.2% in May. Seems kind of weird. Like, we're getting a lot of unexpected data that's coming out. So CPI came in less than expected, but didn't really fall. It just came in less than expected. And now we're getting wholesale prices showing that we are falling. Is inflation really coming down? Well, I guess the good thing is, again, this gives Powell the ammunition to cut the Fed fund rate sooner than later, right? Maybe that's the whole point of this, is to provide data so that he could say, well, inflation is coming down, so we're okay to cut, right? Maybe down the road, because he just declared yesterday there's only one cut this year. But you know what? Earlier this year, he said 3. Who's to say that during the next FOMC meeting, he won't go back to like, okay, you know what? Let's go to 2 rate cuts instead of 1. It may happen, especially if economic data starts showing that the economy is starting doing poor, right? And that's exactly what's happening. Janet Yellen says U.S. debt load is at a reasonable place. If it remains at this level, first of all, there's 2 wrongs there. Number one, it is not reasonable to have nearly $35 trillion in debt. And the second wrong is it's not going to remain at this level. We know that. Just the interest payment alone on the debt is $1 trillion a year. So at the very least, it's going to go up $1 trillion every year because we're not going to pay that $1 trillion of interest. You know where we get that money from? We borrow more money and we print more money. So we actually don't have enough money to pay it off ever. But that seems to be the trend. Just keep on going. Keep on borrowing, keep printing more, which is why inflation will never cease to exist. It's always going to be there. But, you know, our Treasury Secretary says it's fine. It's all fine. Don't worry about it. I got it under control. I don't even know the point of saying that. I don't get it. But anyways, what else is there? Jobless claims came out today. And it's higher than expected. Okay, estimated 225,000 would be filing for unemployment. 242,000 filed, which means there are more people out of work. But this directly contradicts what came out last week, which showed that the U.S. added more jobs in May than expected. It was anticipated that we would only add 165,000 jobs, yet we added 272,000. And somehow today, we're seeing jobless claims rise. This is exactly what Powell was saying, that this was overstated. Even Powell is calling for shenanigans. There's no way that this is accurate. They must be counting some other form of jobs that is non-traditional that made the numbers look so elevated. It doesn't make any sense, especially since unemployment is still going up. So even I'm glad I'm not the only one who caught it. Actually, you know, other people are saying the same thing. Like, hey, there's something going on with cooking the books, I guess, so to speak. That's happening right in front of our eyes. So we got a lot of conflicting data. Inflation somehow is going lower. And then, you know, we got a great jobs report showing that the economy is going up, but no, it's really going down. So you know what? What does that mean? That means we're setting up a stage for rate cuts. We're going to not only get one, probably two or three, even though yesterday Powell was being conservative and said, yeah, we're only going to have one rate cut. I think we're going to have more by the end of this year. I think we're going to have more. I think all the data is starting to show that we need more than one, and that's on purpose. All right. What else is there? GameStop is tanking. Well, at least it tanked yesterday. We'll see if it recovers, but everyone's still wondering what Roaring Kitty is going to do. His enormous call options are going to expire next week, and people are thinking that he has to close it out soon, either this week or early next week, or it's going to expire, and he doesn't have enough money to exercise the contracts. He doesn't have enough money to actually buy, to convert and buy those shares. So he has to close it out early. So that's the thing. Unless he sells his shares and then use that money to exercise his long contracts, and then he could buy the shares, I guess. But that doesn't make a lot of sense why he would do that. So we'll see. And then Tesla, you know, they have a huge shareholders like meeting today, and Elon is asking for the shareholders to vote if he could get his $56 billion, which was originally approved, and then Delaware court struck it down. So now he's asking again, but now Elon is like making threats, which is kind of weird. He's like, if I don't get this, if I don't own 25% of Tesla, I'm just going to take my AI robotics technology elsewhere. Which, again, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because those technologies and IP is owned by Tesla. He can't just take it and say, I'm going to go to X with it. That makes no sense at all. Like, I don't even know how he could publicly declare that he could do that. And he probably will be sued more for making declarations like that. Actually, recently, Tesla diverted all these NVIDIA chips that were meant for Tesla, and he diverted it to X. I don't know how he's able to get away with that. So just like a whole bunch of shenanigans going on with Elon and Tesla as well. Anyways, that's what's going on in the world right now outside of Bitcoin. But what about Bitcoin itself? Well, you know what? When in doubt, zoom out, right? When we have these little dips, we have these little volatilities, retail tends to panic and only focus short term, right? But long-term investors and the whales, they focus long-term. That's why whales scooped up $1.4 billion worth of Bitcoin in just 24 hours. And we're not even talking about a week. We're not talking about a month. Okay, in a single day, we have Bitcoin whales just loading up on Bitcoin. I mean, that's what's happening. I still think most people in the world think that you can buy Bitcoin whenever you want and however you want and as much as you want. You know, that may be the case right now, but that's not going to always be the case. Sure, in 10 years, 20 years, you'll be able to still buy some Bitcoin. But you're going to be paying millions for each one rather than $68,000 now. That's guaranteed. So the scarcity factor is going to drive Bitcoin's price higher. Way, way, way higher. And in the future, majority of people won't be able to afford no sats, nothing. Not even fractional Bitcoin because it will become too expensive. It's not there yet. It is definitely getting more expensive, but it's not there yet. And the whales and institutions know that. That's why they are loading up as much as they can right now, including Michael Saylor, who has been really, really quiet as of late. We haven't seen or heard of any big purchases, but you know it's coming. You know it's coming. MicroStrategy is offering $500 million again of convertible senior notes, and people will take advantage. Wall Street loves MicroStrategy because the stock is on fire, up like 800% or 900% since 2020. Absolutely on fire. And I'm sure this will be eaten up in no time. And then, you know what? Saylor has $500 million more to use to buy Bitcoin with, right? So that's also coming. And you know what? And you know, 500 million is so large, but we have gotten used to that from Michael Saylor. And also in comparison to the other buying, especially the ones that we have seen from the ETS, this is really like chump change now, right? But you know what? Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy continue to DCA Bitcoin no matter what. And that is the right strategy. And more companies and banks and fintech companies are starting to follow. Hey, the world's largest bank out of China, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, now calls Bitcoin digital gold and calls Ethereum digital oil. That's kind of a weird comparison. But even banks, even one that's out of China, the biggest one, is saying that Bitcoin is digital gold. Think about it. And there are a lot of rumors that China is about to fully embrace Bitcoin and crypto. Like even Bybit now, all of a sudden, Bybit, one of the biggest exchanges out there, all of a sudden is now accepting residents out of mainland China. And there's no way that they would be doing so if they didn't get some kind of approval first. So I think we're starting to see the signs that China is about to embrace Bitcoin in a big way, which is why ETFs are allowed in Hong Kong now. But hey, soon you may have 1 point something billion people exposed to Bitcoin, right? Or will be exposed to Bitcoin in the near future. That is pretty darn big. And also Australia's largest bank, Commonwealth Bank, decided to add iBit to its trading platform. Wow. Right? Like even banks, everyone wants a piece. Everyone wants a piece of Bitcoin, right? This is what I've been saying every single day. ETF inflows yesterday, pretty good. Positive 100 million. I think we're going to see info today too. Again, whales are not stopping. These institutions are not. Worldwide buying and adoption happening right in front of our eyes, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. Okay. Another example, whale buy. Two Fresh wallets withdrew 2,000 Bitcoin, 135 million from Binance in 20 minutes alone. I mean, this is what you call whale activity. $100+ million worth of Bitcoin being bought and withdrawn. We see it every single day almost. Every single day. Now, short-term movement, this is what it's looking like. Again, when in doubt, zoom out. But some of you guys may have noticed that we're starting to creep up more and more and more. These dips are not nearly as ferocious as before. And we're setting up for the next leg up. I know it's around the corner. We are not that far away. We've been going sideways for 3 months now. It's just a matter of time before we break out and form that new high, which could be around mid-80s or even 90s. It is coming. Okay. And a bigger picture scale, this is where we are right before the big leg, the next phase of the cycle, the parabolic phase, right? You can see we are right at that point. You can see in 2021 and 2017, we're right at that point where we're consolidating and we're getting ready to move higher. We're right there. We're right there. And if you want you want more charts, here's another one that's showing this giant cup and handle that we're in right now. And as soon as we break out, it's just moonshotting upwards. You know, obviously not like straight up like that, but you know, you guys get the point, right? After a cup of handle, what happens? We go upwards. So a lot of great things happening in the space, a lot of buying. Don't be feared or fudded out of the market. What else is there? There is some FUD though around one DeFi project, Curve. And you got to feel for this guy, but you know, he brought it upon himself. So Curve is one of the biggest dexes out there, primarily focusing on stables, but they do have others. And there's, you know, there's liquid staking, and then there's also borrowing and lending, and you know, just like basically everything. They got everything. I don't know if actually they have liquid staking. I think they don't. But anyways, like with most DeFi projects, you can lend out your crypto to earn interest. You could also borrow crypto and you have to pay interest. They do have their stable coin, whatever. There's everything. But the problem is this founder, I don't know if it's due to greed or because he needed a fundraise or whatever. He borrowed like enormous amount against his own tokens. Okay. He borrowed 100 million in stable coins against his own 140 million in Curve tokens. Now, we have seen this and heard this many times before. This has happened before where he was at a risk of liquidation and others had to come in and help because he has so much Curve that if he does get liquidated, it can crash the price of Curve, and you know, it could potentially affect other DeFi projects, right, that actually have Curve or has, you know, or the tokens are on Curve in liquidity pools and they may get disrupted, right? So in the past, we have seen others like Justin Sun come in to the rescue and buy a whole bunch of Curve to try to stabilize the price and so forth. And like, it's been on and off. And I don't know what the deal is. This guy just could never get out of it. But it turns out that, yeah, he was actually liquidated today. So Curve, you know, alts have been weaker recently. Curve just has not been doing good. And according to Arkham, and they study his wallet, he got liquidated for $140 million. 9-figure lending position liquidated across 5 protocols. This is why borrowing, okay, borrowing against your crypto, using your crypto as collateral is dangerous, okay? This could happen. If the underlying asset goes down, you get margin called. And if you can't pay the margin, you lose it all. That's what happened. So if you look at Arkham and you look at Michael's, you know, entire portfolio now, he has $329,000 worth of crypto. Okay, that's not too bad for a normal person. But when you look over here on this side, in 2021, his profit margin went up to plus 600 million. Okay, that's just profit. That's not actually balances. At one point in time, his tokens and everything was worth $1 billion right there. January 4th of 2022, he was a billionaire in 2022. And you could see since Curve started going down, which is fine, but then he took out that loan and you could see his profit go from plus 600 million down to minus 336 million. And that's where he sits. And his portfolio now only has 329,000. I don't know if he has other portfolios. This is probably just tracking his main wallet. He may have others, but still, if he doesn't, he just lost about $1 billion in 2 years, and now he's just a normie once again. That is sad. No one wants that, okay? No one wants to see that, okay? But again, if this happened, it's due to greed. That's it. Don't borrow against your crypto. There's no need for that. There's no need to borrow against your crypto. That means you actually don't have enough. The saying goes, never invest more than what you can afford to lose, right? I mean, you could argue this guy could afford to lose $336 million, I guess, but still, don't do it. Don't do it. This is why even Saylor caught a lot of flack for saying this too, because back in 2021 and 2022, he was telling people to just go borrow against their Bitcoin, right? Or take out an equity loan on your house and go buy Bitcoin with it. No, I mean, that's just too extreme. You don't want to do that. Only invest what you can afford to lose, not by taking loans against your assets and buying crypto with it. That would have been really bad had you done that in 2022, like this guy, because 2023 was horrific, right? So again, kind of sucks. Really sucks. As for Curve, though, Curve is, yeah, I mean, it's still down 23%. It's recovered a little bit from this dip. All time, though, you could see, all time, at one point in time, Curve debuted at $12. I don't even know. That might be wrong, but in 2021, they were about $6. Now it's down to 28 cents, nowhere close to their previous high. And it seems like there's no momentum at all. All right. That is pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up here. Stephen Hobbs says it's all CPI lies. They've done it for decades. I think so. When altcoin season later this year and next year. Jan says, why are we dumping? Are we going to 62K? No, and we're not dumping. Bryce, what do you think about XRP? I think you're just trolling at this point. Camera wall. Is it worth holding on Say and Sui, even if I saw it a loss? You know, sometimes you just have to take a loss because it's the better move to buy something else that's moving better. But on the flip side, sometimes when you do that, you actually make mistakes. Because generally speaking, there's something psychological that goes on because most people end up selling when they can't take it. And a lot of times that's the point when those crypto go back up. Right, I've seen it many, many times with my own trades where I'm so fed up with something and I sell it and buy something else. Guess what? Then that one that I just sold starts going up and what I bought starts going down. So you just got to be careful. I guess, you know, if you're too heavy into one or another, yeah, you could, you know, reallocate and diversify. But when you make a switch like that, you know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. People that say that, hey, I sold XRP last year and bought Sol or BNB or whatever, they did pretty good. But, you know, it doesn't always work out that well. Teresa, thank you. Update on Mr. 100. You know, I haven't seen Mr. 100. I haven't seen any more charts about it. So I don't actually have the address with me. Larry's asking, George, how do you make ceramic tiles to protect spaceships? That's an interesting question that I'll answer another time. David says I could turn this market around immediately if I just sell my bags. You know, that also tends to happen a lot. When people buy, it goes down. When they sell, it goes up. I mean, yeah, that phenomenon seems to happen to everyone at all times. NASDAQ is still up. Dow is starting to calm down. Dystro says, get Andrew Tate for karate combat. You know, that would be a dream, but, you know, it's going to be tough. He's going to be asking for a lot, and it has to be done in Romania. Of course, karate combat will do it, but, you know, it's going to be very complex. And Sim is never going to fight him. That would be a massacre. That's, you know. But yeah, still working at getting some big influencers for the upcoming IFC fights. You look at Injective, it looks strong. I mean, Injective is going through, you know, the Injective 3.0, which makes it more deflationary because there will be a lot more burning. And they're just kind of holding. They're kind of holding. I mean, they had a terrific March. They have come down since then, but still, does not mean they won't come back up. They had, besides Bonk, they had the greatest return in 2023. And, you know, so far since March and now, they're down. But again, they may have bottomed out like right around here, like around the 22 mark. And now they're coming back up. The Injective 3, that can make a difference. No mention of Russian ships off the coast of Florida. Hey, that's not my thing. I have no idea what's going on with Russian ships off the coast of Florida. If you're talking about going to Cuba or whatever, I don't see how that relates to Bitcoin and crypto, but I'll look it up. Have you seen NPC non-playable coin? No, I have not. James says, morning, George. I'm new to crypto. I'm blind and have difficulty reading charts. So do you have any suggestions for me to get the best info before I buy a coin? You know, the best way is just don't look at charts, okay? And just study the crypto that you feel are interesting and maybe you've heard me talk about or others talk about. That's the best way to do it. Long term, you just want a DCA, dollar cost average. That's really all that matters. ADA to Sol, AVAX, Link, or Stacks. So you're asking if you want to convert your ADA to any of those? I mean, all of those are fine. Why would Curve Founder care? He still gets to keep the stables from the loans he took, right? No. No. Yeah, it's It's not good all around. All right, it's not good all around. Let's just leave it that way. Not only did he lost his underlying, but whatever he took, he probably spent it, right? And if he put that, like, I don't know, most people, what they do is they borrow, they take whatever they get, and then they go buy more with it, right? And if he bought more curve with it, for example, um, well, and then curve goes down, I mean, he still lost money there. You know what? I don't know what he did with it, right? Maybe he put it into the liquidity pool or something. But basically, based on his address, he doesn't have it anymore. It's gone. It's all gone, basically. He went from holding 1 billion plus in his portfolio now down to 300,000. So I don't know what he did with it. Maybe he cashed out, or maybe he didn't and he bought more with it, or he took another loan with whatever he borrowed. I have no idea. On My Hero says he should have spent it on girls with daddy issues. Maybe he did. Maybe that's why he needed $100 million loan. Who knows? Maybe he bought a huge mansion and blew it all away on I don't know, on whatever, yachts or girls or coke or whatever. Do you think WIF could hit 25 billion in market cap? 10x from here? It could happen. I'd say memes are gonna get hot again. I do think it can happen. But somehow they just lost a lot of momentum. Like almost all of it went to Pepe and others. WIF did lose a lot. I think you know what happened when WIF started getting weak when they had that concert. They had some silly concert they were putting up, and it was like the worst concert in the history of concerts. And then that's when it was a turning point for this project. And I don't remember when they had that concert, but it was just like really bad. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but ever since then, it's just WIF has just been getting weaker. Have you seen that new DEX in Solana called Falcon X? You know, someone asked me about it before. I haven't experimented with it. I mean, I still just use Jupiter. I mean, Jupiter is fine. It's up 30%, but it's 12 million. Yeah, it's still way down versus May when they topped out. They're coming up back up a little bit. I don't know enough about it, what separates it from, let's say, Radium. And maybe Jupiter itself is already connected to Falcon X also. Jupiter, just so people know, it's a DEX aggregator. They are not their own DEX, but they do have some cool stuff. So I don't know. But it does seem like this project really had a big pump in May. And then now it may be coming back up. Maybe it bottomed around here, like yesterday. Beer is down 25% in 10 minutes. Beer has been much stronger. Ooh, down 51%. Oh my God, what happened there? someone completely dumped it right here. Look at that big red right there. And then now it's dumping again. See, I mean, it's still fine, say, if you bought it back here, okay, or over here, but anyone that bought up here is now in the loss, right? Say, this is what happens with memes sometimes. You know, you just don't know. Some memes look like they're, you know, when it's up here, it's like 300, 400 million. Seems like it's going to a billy, right? Like a billion. And then all of a sudden, it just falls. According to Josh, the team sold 10 million last night, caused a 70% drop in one candle, probably there, right? So again, sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know what happens to the memes. And sometimes some of these memes, once they hit 300, 400 million, they head to a billion. But some do not. And now looks like it's crashing. So I guess it's important to see how much, when you're looking at memes, there are a few things you could look at. For example, how much the team holds. If they burn their entire liquidity pool, that's important. If they don't burn their liquidity pool, that's a big problem because they could just drain a liquidity pool. And most rugs, that's how they do it. Not that they sell their own shares, or their tokens, they drain a liquidity pool. So looking at them, they do have 99.3% of the liquidity. They did burn their liquidity pool, but I guess they still sniped a good amount at the beginning, and then they just decided to sell that for whatever reason. 41,000 holders. Man, there's some big insiders. One person still holds 9%, and then basically 3 are holding 4%. And then you got a 3% one. These are probably, I mean, look at these. They're all, yeah, I mean, I don't know who they belong to, but probably the founders that sniped or something. Heard of Nibby, New Fast Cosmo L1 chain? I don't think I have. $26 million. Nibiru, I can't even pronounce that. A lot of backers, that's for sure. $12 million in funding. $10,000 transactions per second, pretty fast. 80 teams building. I guess it looks okay. Looks okay. When they TG since March, been going down since then. Oh, well, here's a problem. Circulating supply, only 12% released. Fully diluted is 215, which isn't bad. But you got to be a little careful. It's a little deceiving. Looks like it's like really small, but it is bigger than what it looks like. A cost shot. Thank you. Teresa's a new member. Welcome. Celtics will sweep. Yes, they will, but I prefer to see Mavs win, but they just have no chance. Outclassed in this series. Do you think Turbo will hit 7 billion market cap? Probably not. No. Have you seen MPC non-playable coin? 1,200% in the last 90 days. Elon tweeted about it. I don't think he tweeted about it. I think he didn't know what he was talking about. And he's not going to publicly endorse any memes besides Doge. Non-playable coin. Is that what everyone's asking about? Well, the charts doesn't look bad. I'll say that. The chart is pretty much straight up. But I have been fooled before. A lot of, again, just kind of like beer. A lot of times you see something just go straight up, like it's never going to come down, and then boom, it just dumps on you. This does have liquidity lock. 100% of LP locked. You got 7K users almost. Let's see the holders. Well, someone holds 13% of the supply. That's probably the team. That's a little concerning. If they dump that, that's going to cause a huge dump. 3%. Okay, and then you got this one, 3%. Everything else is probably 2 and under, which is fine. But that 13% is a little worrisome. That's a huge amount. Yeah, holds $25.7 million worth of MPC. So they're definitely what this is the contract for this is the address for the contract. I think. This guy's kind of stupid. They transfer a token. I mean, whatever they used, this is ETH, right? They transferred the ETH from Coinbase. So if the IRS or anyone else ever wanted to find out who created MPC, they could just subpoena Coinbase and find that out. So probably not the way you want to do it. Anyways, yeah, not a fan of them holding 13% of the supply, right? Obviously, that's a little concern. If they did dump that, it would cause us to crash. Check out Landwoo on ETH. I'm sorry. That just sounds silly. I'm not gonna check that. UK Harry says, "You made me a rich man, George." I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. That's good. Ramon says, "Fed dumps way more than usual than the previous days. Do you think the reason behind it is the extension of the ASI merge? Is it really more than before?" Let's see. Let's go back a month. Yeah, from here. But this is, if you correlate this is probably the same time Bitcoin dumped a little bit. But, you know, if you're looking at the year, it's still sitting pretty good. My DCA portfolio is still one of my strongest gainers. From this point, about 55 cents, that's back in February till now, it's still triple, right? It's still up 300% since February. So I think it could just be in a slump right now because people are waiting for that ASI merger. Okay. People keep saying land woo. I don't know. Is it really that good? It did top out. It bottomed out here. It's trying to make a comeback. It burned the LP. Someone holds 6%, 7% of the supply. Again, probably a team member. The others are okay. That's still a little high. And Landwoo is just a horrible name. That's not fun to say, and probably a little racist there too, but whatever. Not something I would get behind. I feel like my chat just keeps on freezing. There we go. I have to keep resetting it, refreshing it. So do you think the merger will make a pump or not? I don't know. Maybe not immediately, but it becomes the biggest AI play in the space. I think that's pretty exciting. And of course, we'll see what they do when the three companies actually merge. One Ocean is a data marketplace. Singularity just has a lot of data sets and models, and then Fetch is L1, so it becomes like an enormously big L1 AI play with the data marketplace. So it could be quite interesting. Half the year, Armando asks, half the year is pretty much gone. What's your prediction for year end? Hasn't changed. Hasn't changed at all. Between 125 and 150,000 for Bitcoin end of the year. I'm sticking with that. I think that is very, very possible still. What's your thoughts on Superverse? Do you think it'll do well? Not particularly, no. Have you heard any news as to what Solana is doing about this slow network? I've been trying to stake for an hour. It just keeps failing. I haven't heard that at all. I haven't heard that at all, but I'll look into it. All right, guys. So overall, today we got some more bad economic news or good economic news, depending on how you see it. We know it's all shenanigans. It doesn't matter. All the books are cooked. The numbers will come in however they want them to come in, right? The only way to opt out of the shenanigans is with Bitcoin. So stay strong, my friends. Bitcoin is strong. Bitcoin is forever. And more whales, including Michael Saylor, are buying more. So smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight. Usual time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.